We're live.
We're live. We're live.
Okay.
It's time to talk about Stuff and Things.
Stuff and Things, episode 3.
Stuff and Things, episode 3. This time we're talking about Loki, season 2, which just wrapped up. We just watched the finale.
We literally just watched it. We're
like
completely
2 minutes ago.
raw dogging it right now.
So this will be about Loki, maybe a little bit of MCU stuff, but Loki, our thoughts on it and all that stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. What'd you think?
Well, I thought that episode was pretty crazy and was the best episode of the season, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm almost like, I want to break it down a little bit because I'm almost like what even the fuck happened at the end there? Like Loki's some kind of time lord that just controls the whole multiverse now.
Yeah, he's like a time god.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to... What
spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you just spoiled. Well, I mean, if you're listening to this, I mean, who cares, right? I mean, I would never listen to something of a show that I've never watched.
For sure.
But before we get into it, just real quick, what did you think of season 1?
Okay, yeah. So season 1, probably my favorite Marvel show. I really loved WandaVision too, but Loki season 1 I thought was amazing.
Okay.
For a number of reasons, including that I believe it was the first MCU IP to introduce the multiverse.
I think WandaVision kind of does that, but I guess in a grander scale.
Yes.
Or officially.
Loki was officially, this is what the multiverse is.
Yeah.
Introducing the concept of variants.
Yeah.
Introducing a Kang variant for the first time.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of really important things in that show that had an impact on the rest of the MCU moving forward. And things things at least for like this arc of the MCU, in theory, out of all the properties that has come out recently in the past few years, it's, for me, I was really hyped up about it because I was like, oh shit, it's the multiverse. Like, we're finally in it now. And, we got Kang finally.
Yeah, and then the movies happen and nothing's happened
and
yet.
then, there's been no movement. Yeah. Which is unfortunate. But
the show itself.
The first season was, very... it felt like things were moving in the right direction for me. It was, really well-paced and just a lot of new material that they were introducing to audiences for the first time that I was excited to see for many years.
Yeah, I thought it was like a fresher breath air too.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people criticize the finale of the first season for being very slow, very talkative. But for me personally, it's one of the things that I loved about it.
I loved it too.
Because you would think it'd be like an action set piecey thing, kind of like what WandaVision did. But it ended up being like this really slow and philosophical conversation between 3 characters where you kind of understand all sides. And I think that's when you know that it's good writing, because when you have the protagonists and the villains and you understand both sides and then you put yourself in their shoes and it's like, shit, I don't know what I would...
It's like there's no good options.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do. I get it and I don't. I mean, I don't know what I would do. So yeah, obviously I agree with you. I think season 1 of Loki is the best Marvel show. I'd argue that, especially ever since Endgame, Loki is the best thing that they've put out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if it's because the writers that they have on this team or if it's because the material is more interesting.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's just the material, because it's, like I said, moving things in the right direction as opposed to everything else that's come out, which just feels like filler.
Yeah.
There's no plot or substance to it.
I think you also got to give credit to Tom Hiddleston and all the other...
of course, the cast is amazing.
Yeah, the cast in Loki, I think, is the best cast out of all.
Yeah.
All the characters are, good.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston is great. Obviously, Jonathan Majors, crazy range. After seeing season 2, it's like, this is the same dude.
Season 2, season 1, even in the fucking shitty Ant-Man movie. It's just different.
It's so tangibly different characters he's playing.
It's pretty wild. But yeah, so we've established Loki's the best thing that's come out. And so I was really hyped for season 2, when it first came out, a couple weeks back. And personally, did not enjoy season 2 as much as season 1, but I still think it's better than everything else Marvel has done, including WandaVision. I'd say season 1 is the best thing, and season 2 is the second best thing. I still enjoyed it.
You still think it's better than WandaVision?
Season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like to judge things as a whole package, right? I mean, if we're judging WandaVision episodes 1 through 9, and this is not going to turn into a WandaVision thing,
Yeah.
but if we're judging 1 through 9, then WandaVision would be the best thing. But as a whole, I think that the last episode of WandaVision makes everything else fall apart because all the buildup is pretty much a wet fart, and there's no payoff for anything.
I don't think it brings it down that much. I still am like, is WandaVision better than Loki season 1? I don't
think it is, because as a whole, I think Loki season 1 is perfect.
Yeah.
And WandaVision season 1 is not perfect. I give WandaVision season 1 like a 8 out of 10.
That's great.
That is great, of course, because I still think it was super creative. I still love the show, but it does lose 2 points for that dog shit finale. And I think season 1 of Loki is 10 out of 10, and I'd give Loki season 2 an 8.5 out of 10. It's still a little bit better than WandaVision.
Okay, well, I don't want this to become a too much of a WandaVision comparison, but
the point is,
me going into this conversation that we're having now, I was gonna shit on Loki season 2 a lot more than I am going to now because of the last episode. Because I just really liked the last episode, and I feel like it was a good payoff for watching whatever it was, like 6 episodes.
Do you think that the finale made the first episodes that you didn't like too much worth it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that it's like it was a good payoff. Like, it felt satisfying at the end, which a lot of shows fail to do by the end of the season.
So then you didn't like season 2 as much, though.
No, really, the only, and pretty much you can feel like you can skip every episode and only watch the last episode and still, understand what's going on, and that's really the only one that matters.
I think you can make an argument for the last 2 because the last one was fucking crazy. The last one leads directly into this one.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, but in general, pacing was. I felt the pacing was very slow, and it didn't do as much in terms of like moving the MCU forward as Loki season 1 did for me. Now, one question I have for you: what do you think that this whole Loki Time Lord multiverse guy? What do you think that means for the rest of the properties moving forward?
Well, I do know. I'm like an outsider to the comic books. And I was aware of some sort of storyline. I saw a picture online of like a comic picture of Loki sitting on a throne with like a bunch of like time threads around him. So like, I'm sure that a lot of the final shots that they have in this last episode, some of those shots are probably like literally ripped from a comic book, because I think that's what happens in some storyline where Loki becomes like the new He Who Remains, I guess, like the new guy that controls everything. But that's about as far as I know when it comes to like comic book knowledge. What I think it entails is, obviously they are setting up for Kang. Like, that is the next thing. That Loki chose to hope that they can fight off all the Kangs and he can maintain, being like I guess with him in control, from what I understood, is that he's allowing all these he's controlling all these infinite timelines, and he's just keeping them in check. And that has to do with the conversation about burden and everything that he had with Mobius. Like the only way to allow everybody to live is if he does it, and he just has everything. Like, he has them all. And I think that obviously they mentioned that there was a Kang that got a little bit out of control in a timeline adjacent to 616. Yeah. And 616.
What is it? Which is the 616 being like the main
timeline. Yeah.
Right? What does that mean? That some variant that got out of control. What is that referring to? You think?
I'm assuming it's just like, okay, like one of the because there's an infinite number of Kangs, right? So I think it's just foreshadowing. Like, there's a Kang that got out and did some damage right next to our main timeline. So I think it's just hinting like, okay, clearly they're still out there. They're gonna do some damage, and I think it's gonna lead into eventually a Kang breaking into the main timeline. Now I don't know where like Ant-Man 4 falls into this. I don't know if that's what the event we're talking about.
It almost felt like it was referencing something that happened.
It might have been Ant-Man 4 because Ant-Man 4 technically doesn't take place in the main timeline. They technically go into like the quantum realm and go like, so you could argue.
The quantum realm a different universe that's separate from the main timeline?
I think so. I don't understand all that, and the movie was garbage, but I wouldn't be surprised if later they reveal like, oh, that thing that character was talking about, the adjacent timeline, was the Ant-Man 4 events, because they did handle it, right? He was defeated by giant ants. But I do think that after this, and I know people keep saying this after every MCU movie that's come out since Endgame, they're like, finally, now we're really gonna, because I thought that after I thought that after WandaVision, I thought that after Loki, I thought that after No Way Home.
I stopped thinking that.
I thought that after Doctor Strange too. It was like, finally. But this time, all right? No, listen. Because I do think this time, you know, I think now things are set in motion. Like, I can see now, like, Loki is trusting that his friends and, you know, the people that are in the other timelines will be able to handle whatever comes. That's what he said to Sylvia. Like, we hope that we can build something better or whatever. So I think that's kind of the idea. And I think it's kind of badass. Like, because I could see, like, you know, in the Avengers movies that are coming up, like, Loki at some point is probably going to have to step in or some shit.
Yeah. It's going to be this fucking crazy time lord.
It's pretty badass because, I mean, you think back to, like, Avengers 1, right? And it's like you're watching Loki attack Earth, and it's like, damn, that guy is going to go on to fucking become the time-slipping Time Lord or whatever. So that's kind of how I see things going. Would you agree? Or
well, yes, I do, and I've definitely seen the future there being some kind of scene where Loki has to step in and you know, he has some kind of conversation with Thor, and that's going to be really cool to see. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
that's one of the things. Getting into some of the things that I didn't like too much. I do think that you still have to watch the whole season to understand it, because there is a whole setup with the time slipping. He doesn't get control of the time slipping until the end of episode 5. And if you start with the last 2 episodes, it's going to look like the time slipping is just a cheap writing trope. Like, oh, this is just a cop out. But if you watch from the first episode, like, he didn't have control over it. And he still didn't have a grasp as to why he was doing what he was doing, like, at least in his head.
Well, I still think it's kind of a cheap writing thing, because they didn't explain. There's no explanation for all. You know, he conveniently learns how to do it just in time.
Well, he doesn't learn how to do it. But you can make the argument that that's what needed to happen
for the plot.
Yes, but like also like emotionally, like that's he finally understood that, like, he until we told him too, like, it's not just because he cares about, like, he cares about people. Like,
but that's all plot nonsense. But I will say, it's
not plot nonsense, because Loki's character has come a long way. It's not. Well,
that's exactly right. Because what I think, big props to something that I think was done really well throughout the whole show is the character arc of Loki. Yeah, and the way that, you know, this last episode, he's just this, like, selfless dude who, you know, took one for the team, and now he's keeping everything in order. Yeah, which is completely different than the way he was, of course, at the start of the show. So start of the MCU. Yeah. But, you know, he was at the start of the MCU. He was like the Loki that we knew from Avengers. Yeah. You know? So I think they did a really good job over the course of 2 seasons transitioning him into that role, and that felt really satisfying to see him. And he found his purpose too, which is something that he was looking for throughout the season, throughout the whole universe, throughout the whole time too. Yeah, but I feel like especially in season 2, he was like, "What am I?" You know, he was like, "What am I going to do with all my friends?" Yeah, with all my friends. But so that was really satisfying to see, and All the other characters, everything seemed to wrap up really well, which I love because it's so hard to do for shows is to end well.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be.
I don't think there's going to be a season 3 because like what else can they do?
Yeah, I think that at this point it's set up perfectly for the Kang movies.
Yeah, there's nothing else. Like the story is complete now.
Yeah, at least this TVA Loki thing, I think that is done. But I was gonna say that one of the things that I do when speaking of him wanting to keep his friends alive and everything, one of the things that you could call this a nitpick if you want. I don't think it is, but when he was talking about like the reason why he wants to keep everything alive too, I was a little bit disappointed that he never mentioned Thor, because he's only talking about his TVA friends.
Yeah,
but I kind of wish that like at a certain point when Sylvie was like questioning him about like what he wants to protect, I kind of wish that he said like, oh well, my brother lives.
That's
in
a
these
great
timelines.
point. That's a great point, and he never really mentioned Thor at all.
In the first season, he does.
Well, he mentioned Thor when they were in like the 1900s world, and like, oh, that's not what Thor looks like.
This is in the second season though, but like in the first season, it breaks him down when he sees that he gets killed, and then that presumably Thor gets killed. So and the Thor Loki relationship, I think, is like one of the strongest aspects of the entire MCU. So. You know, I do wish that in season 2 they leaned in more on Loki's love for Thor. I don't know if like they are worried about it getting too deep and they want to keep like the, you know, jokey brother dynamic going, but I think that we've moved past that.
I mean,
already.
Part of it is that the Loki that we're following here didn't develop that relationship with Thor throughout the other Marvel movies.
That is true. That's a fair point.
So I think that's probably part of it, but I would have liked to see him acknowledge Thor to some extent.
Yeah, because the whole point is that like he did always like him. He was just jealous of him or whatever, right? So to a certain extent, there is still some admiration. He did always admire him. Like that's kind of the whole point.
I mean, obviously they have some relationship, they're brothers, and he didn't really. Maybe there's some internal dialogue, but it wasn't something that the audience got to see when it came to Thor. There wasn't a lot there. Yeah.
So that's like probably like I won't say it's my biggest issue with season 2, but it is one of the things that, you know, I kept thinking about, and every now and then it took me out of the show. And whenever it's something like that, whenever there's a thought that keeps creeping up on me watching the show, I think it's valid enough to criticize it.
I think another criticism I have about season 2, as opposed to season 1, was that the chemistry between Loki and Mobius was really fucking top tier in season 1, and I didn't think they really hit the mark in season 2 with it.
I get where you're coming from, but you say the same argument because the season 2 Mobius isn't necessarily the same one. He goes to a different timeline. He like comes back and he has to re-explain everything to Mobius again. So
not from scratch. Not completely from scratch.
Well, because in the finale of season 1, he gets to the timeline and they all forgot who he is. Like they don't know who Loki is. And then season 2 picks up right after season 1, and he has to re-explain. Does he not have? Maybe I forgot, but I'm pretty sure he has to re-explain to Mobius like
who he is. I honestly don't remember. But overall.
It definitely wasn't as strong, but I still think it still is good, especially in that last scene where he goes back in his last episode where he goes back and they have that conversation about the burden and everything.
Yeah, that was great.
That's why I think like that was like the on point season 1 chemistry, right?
Yeah.
Or like when they're having, even in season 2, like there's the episode where they're having the key lime pie. Mm-hmm. Like I think maybe
there were a couple of moments, but it wasn't as like.
Maybe it's because season 2 was like a lot of an ensemble, right? Like it was like all the group together, and maybe Loki and Mobius work better when they're one-on-one, having these like philosophical conversations and throwing out these questions that do generally like get you thinking. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite things about this show, like a Disney Marvel show that actually like, you know, you get to think. Mm-hmm. Like you're like, oh shit, like that is an interesting question, you know. Even like in the end when he was like when Victor Timely, right? He was like, oh, it's like trying to divide by 0, like it's impossible. It's like you try to wrap your head around that, and it's like your brain will explode. In the beginning of the episode, when they kind of like turned Loki's time slipping into a little bit of like a funny thing with him like trying it over and over, and they were playing that funny little music.
Yeah, that was kind of goofy.
It was goofy, and I was turned
goofy,
off.
but like I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it, but I was turned off a little bit out because I don't like when shows turn serious moments into like comedic, goof. But I think that it was. I think I get where they were going because the whole episode gradually becomes more and more serious. And at the end of the day, him doing that meant nothing. He couldn't stop it. So that was just one thing that at first I was like, I don't know if I'm digging this. So I was a little worried.
I was a little worried in the beginning.
But they do fix it, I thought. I thought they definitely fixed it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also, one thing that I will criticize too is, and these are actual issues, not nitpicks. There are plot points that don't get resolved. Renslayer, wherever the fuck it is she lands, that purple light. What is that?
Yeah, well, she goes into that world where people go and they're pruned. Yeah, and then I guess she's just gonna live there now.
Yeah, but there was something shining on her face, the purple light, and she's looking at it. It's like it pissed me off when we didn't see what that was. That's set up for the next. Better be the next movie. I don't think this deserves another season.
No.
And then they also don't really resolve the whole Miss Minutes being in love with Kang and like her being crazy. Like when she's like you'll never be him, and like she gets all horny for him. Like they never really. I mean, it's implied, but like she left off with that ominous ass threat. Like you'll never be him, and it's like what. You lost.
They didn't really explain how they reset her or anything.
Yeah, like the Miss Minutes arc, which was one of the things that I thought was kind of cool, with her being creepy and fucking going psycho. But they don't expand into it at all.
Yeah, they wrap it up quickly. I mean, they were like, okay, we're gonna take her offline, and then in the last episode at the end, you see her back, and is she gonna kill us all?
Yeah, and then he's
like, I don't know.
Yeah, that was kind of. I think that's lazy. Mm-hmm. I think they just didn't have time to wrap that up, and they were trying to. I think it's one of those things where like they were writing it and it was cool, but then they got to the last episode and they were like, "Fuck."
They're like, we don't really have time for this. It's just no one really cares anyway.
I cared.
I didn't really care.
I thought it was cool, when she gets into that little doll or that mannequin. That's creepy.
I liked when she grew really giant and was stomping around.
That's a bit goofy.
Yeah, but this is kind of cool.
I also damn, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, you know what else? Another gripe I have with season 2 is that there's a lot of fucking mumbo jumbo talk about the fucking, I don't even remember what they're called, but like, the loom, and like we gotta do the enhancer and the blah blah blah, and all this like weird science bullshit terms. And there's so much of that.
There is a lot of it.
So much, and I just tune out completely.
What'd you think about Loki going back to learn everything about physics?
That was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
Where he's just like there learning for like centuries.
And we just skip all that and come back. Yeah, I thought that was funny. I thought they did a good job of it. I think it's something that could have easily come out cheap, but because it ended up meaning nothing, I think it makes
big L for him.
Yeah,
he spent all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean that's part of like the stakes or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I do find it interesting, like that this whole like disintegration thing, like where they like turn into noodles or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I like the visual of that.
I do like the visual. I like it better than the dust, the Thanos dust, because it's technically the second version of that, right?
Yeah.
I do like this visual better. It's a little more graphic because you do see like the skull for like a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, Victor Timers, you do see it.
What you can do when it's television.
Yeah, because it's noodles, right? It's not really him. It's not really his blood or whatever. But I do like the visual, and I do think it's creepier than like the Thanos snap for sure. I think it's more effective. Like at least with episode 5, I remember like when all the characters started disappearing and Mobius is like, I have to go see my family. And then he disappears. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, I don't know, like that's what makes Loki so fucking good. Like it's sure it's not for kids, not really. I mean, it is, but like it is much better appreciated.
Well,
like,
always the best content, especially when it comes to these Disney type shows, is when you can enjoy it at different layers. So you can enjoy it, like if you're 12, you can still enjoy Loki, but then if you're 25, you can still, or an adult, you can enjoy it in a different way.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like, I mean, and it just has darker themes too, like themes that kids can't even grasp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know that whole stuff, time and all that stuff. I love that stuff. So it was like right up my alley. Do you think did this does Kang did this season make Kang feel like a threat to you, or not yet?
No, because there's no
because Kang is supposed to be, well, there's He Who Remains, like the fucking do you think that, here's another question to think about, because is this whole thing that's happening right now, even with Loki becoming the god, do you think this is part of He Who Remains' orchestrated plan?
That's a great question. I think that's what they want you to be thinking about in this show. It's like, did he know this was going to happen?
He gave him looks like he had two options, either kill Sylvie or let the loom be destroyed. It did seem like he was doing his best to make sure Loki didn't destroy the loom, but maybe that's all part of it. I don't know. That's a thing. Like, when you introduce time,
it's open to interpretation.
When you introduce like multiverse timeline stories like this is like these are the kind of conversations that you draw up, because you never know. It's almost like you don't know what to believe, and I think it's a good thing and a bad thing, because I think that it ups the stakes while lowering the stakes at the same time, because it's like you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know what crazy shit they're going to do. So it ups the stakes, but it also lowers the stakes, because you're like, oh, well, I mean, maybe this is just part of the plan. Or like, oh, maybe they'll just fix it because Loki can just go back in time. Like, part of me was thinking, I was like, if Loki, I knew, like, when the loom failed, I was like, he's going to go back to the season 1 where she was trying to kill him. I was like, what's stopping Loki from going back further?
Well, that's what I thought originally, when he kept going back to, like, right when Victor Timely kept dying. Yeah. And I was like, why doesn't he go back further? Yeah. And so he finally did. And then...
But, like, further, why doesn't he go back to, like, Avengers? Like, why doesn't he, like, go back? Like, I don't know. Like,
well, I don't know. What would that accomplish?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what that would accomplish, but, like, more time. More time before... I don't know. That's
too much time.
I guess.
He needs to be at least in the TVA to, succeed in his goal.
Yeah, I mean, the farthest he went back was season 1 when he's being interrogated.
Like, probably first episode.
The first episode. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Because, like, with the next... Because I don't know what's the next movie that's going to come out. Do you know?
That's a good question. What is the next movie? Well... Besides the Marvels.
It doesn't count.
That doesn't count as a movie.
No. I haven't even seen it, and that doesn't count. Oh, I think it's Deadpool 3.
Is that really the next one?
I think. And I do think Deadpool 3, it's in the MCU now.
Yeah.
And, they're bringing back Wolverine and everything. So
well, the rumor is that the movie will be about Deadpool killing off all of the Fox X-Men characters.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor. But I've also heard the rumor that the TVA is going to be involved in it, too.
Interesting.
And I wouldn't be surprised, because Deadpool is part
everything of the MCU. Is all multiverse now, so there's going to be some connection to the main MCU franchise in Deadpool 3, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the TVA.
Okay.
Are you interested in seeing how the Kang storyline plays out, or are you clocked out and it was just Loki?
Which canon story?
Well, yeah, because the next Avengers movie is Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, and the rumor is that movie is going to play out similar to Infinity War, where they're going to lose, and then Avengers: Secret Wars is going to be like fucking. The rumor is that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine are going to be the two leads in Secret Wars.
That would be crazy.
And that they're going to be like the two leads, and that, it's going to be just a fucking junction of everything clashing together. Like, I mean, that's the comic book storyline.
The Kang Dynasty, sure, it's exciting, but who are the Avengers there that I'm looking forward to seeing? They're all gone. All the good ones are gone.
Well, there's the Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, but even they're gone. Even the main people from the Guardians.
There's
like a new Guardians of the Galaxy.
There's also rumors that all the original Avengers are coming back too.
I almost feel like if they did that, they would just be giving up. Where they're giving up in the sense that there's no momentum forward. The only thing that's success to them is if they move backwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of comic books though.
I want to see them move forward, and I think the way they do that is if they lean in on X-Men and Fantastic Four, especially. That's what I'm most excited for. I want to see how they handle those franchises and how they incorporate that into the main storyline.
Yeah,
because we've not had any X-Men movies in so long, and I fucking love X-Men.
Yeah,
I think it's great. Fantastic Four, never really been a huge fan, but I am hopeful that they do them justice.
Yeah, I mean, there's also because like the new Avengers are not.
And Fantastic Four is an important part of Marvel.
They
especially Reed Richards. Like, he's an important character in
well, he was in Doctor Strange too.
Yeah, that was cool. Although I hope it's not John Krasinski.
You didn't like him.
I think it's fine as a cameo role, but I don't want him to be like the lead Reed Richards in a Fantastic Four movie. It's just too distracting for me that he is John Krasinski.
You never know, dude. I mean, actors will surprise you. I mean, he is a pretty damn good dramatic actor. He's
fine, but I just keep, waiting for him to just
do The Office, the gym.
Same thing with the fucking horror. I always forget the name of it. The one that he directed.
Quiet Place?
Yeah, Quiet Place. Same
he's
thing.
Good in those.
No, he's good, but I'm still waiting for him to see some dude get eaten and then him just turning to the camera just I
think that's more of a you problem.
No, I think that's probably a big part of what made that movie successful is that there were a bunch of fucking basic ass bitches being like, oh my god, it's Jim from The Office.
That's not why I watched it.
No, that's not why I watched it either.
Exactly. So you're setting yourself apart from these basic ass bitches.
But I'm sure that was some factor in its success.
I guess.
Some percentage, even if it was 5%.
Well, we still have Doctor Strange 3, right? That's also a movie that's in.
Is that really?
I think so. I mean,
didn't Doctor Strange 2 just come out?
It did, but I mean, it did end with a weird teaser for a third one.
Sure.
There's the girl that's in Black Panther 2. That's the new Iron Man, the black chick.
Sure, they're making a show. They're
making a show of her. Well, the next thing that's coming out is
that's a pass for me.
That's a pass for me too.
There's shows coming out.
Echo
is at the next show,
which looks shockingly good. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, I have, and the only reason I would be keen to watch it is because it's TVMA.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm
yeah. I mean, I don't know who she is.
I'll probably not watch it, to be honest.
I think you will. I think you'll give the first episode a shot. It's TVMA.
Maybe I'll watch the first episode.
And it's got Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Daredevil makes a cameo at some point. He's in the trailer, so
All right, maybe I'll watch the first episode, but it's not something I'm necessarily really
I'm not
hyped
excited
to watch.
I'm not hyped for it. I was hyped for Daredevil Born Again, but they scrapped it, and they're restarting again.
Yeah.
So that's going to take another 3 years. So now I'm not excited for that. Not that much. I know that they got. I know that back, fucking, I don't know, 3-4 years ago when they revealed the new timeline, they revealed Kang Dynasty. I do know that there are some Easter eggs where the music that played during the teaser for the Kang Dynasty movie does play in season 2 of Loki. when everything was falling apart. So I don't know. I guess I'm like a little bit hyped for. There's also the end credit scene of Ant-Man 4, where all the Kangs are gathering around the Coliseum.
Oh yeah.
Probably like the only worthwhile part of that movie. So I'm like mildly hyped just to see. I mean, I want to see Kang kill Avengers. I mean,
yeah, that would be cool.
In Ant-Man 4,
that's kind of what's needed.
In Ant-Man 4, Kang said that he killed Thor. At least he was like, oh, like he was talking to Ant-Man. He was like, are you the one with the hammer? Like, I've killed that one before. I don't know if that one's you.
Wait, when? In which one?
In Ant-Man 4, he's talking to Ant-Man, and he's like, oh yeah, I know the Avengers. I killed the one with the hammer.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he says that he killed Thor pretty much, and I think like that's one way that they could differentiate Kang from Thanos, because we did see Thanos kill, like, but like he just dusted them.
Mm-hmm.
The only ones.
No, I want to see them get brutally murdered.
The only ones that Thanos killed is Loki. The one that actually fucking killed is Loki. So it would be fucking amazing to see Kang kill like the main Avengers, like in multiple timelines. Even if it's in different timelines, I just want to see him like.
Which I'm sure that'll happen.
But like I want to see it. I don't just want it to like cut away, or for him to say, "Oh, I killed Iron Man." I want to fucking see it.
They have to do it in a PG-13 way.
I mean, if they do it, they can. They can. I mean, Loki got away with a lot of,
Yeah.
And
I'm looking at what's coming up, and so next is Deadpool 3 in July. So that's a long time in between movies.
July? That's fucking 6 months from now. That's what they need. They need time between movies.
Yes. Right? So part of the issue in recent years has been way too much saturation of.
It is way too much. I mean, all the shows have been shit. I mean,
everything's been shit. The movies have been
WandaVision
shit.
and Loki have been the only salvageable things. No Way Home doesn't count because that's Spider-Man.
Yes. I think that they realize what they're doing, and that's part of the reason why there's really such a huge gap now between, like.
I would have noticed it after, I don't know, the first thing that came out after.
I know, but like they had a whole thing.
Yeah, they had things planned.
Yeah,
sure.
So there's nothing that they could have done for a couple of years, and hopefully they are deviating now.
They also had bad luck too. Fucking
bad luck.
Yeah, I mean T'Challa died.
That was bad luck.
That was horrible.
That was bad luck for them.
Yeah, that was terrible luck.
But I mean, that was going to be like the next big thing.
And it probably would have been better.
Franchise.
It would have been better.
It would have been a way better movie.
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy that movie too much.
He was one of the more interesting characters that survived.
Yeah.
Like everything.
I mean, he became a cultural icon.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a blue balls for us. But okay, then there's.
He just didn't want to be part of these shitty movies, dude. That's why.
That's like got cancer.
Yeah. That's why he was like, you know what? It's not gonna go well. He saw Marvel showed him the slate, and that's what gave him cancer.
Yeah.
Right? He fucking saw
he
saw the slate of movies, and he was like, "Fuck this."
They showed him the whole Phase 5 fucking plan, and he was like, "No, I'm good."
Clocked out, bro. I would have done the same thing.
All right. After Deadpool is Captain America: Brave New World, which is like, goddamn, I do not even want to watch that.
Are you serious? That's the next one?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I forgot about that show. That was another horrible
And it's another 6-month wait. So that's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
I watched that show.
It was really bad, dude.
That's when I started realizing.
I think that was the first one. I
needed to watch that because that was the first time when I was like, wow, I need to stop watching every MCU thing.
Me too. And it came out like right after WandaVision. And I remember when, the shows got announced, I was like, WandaVision? Who the fuck wants to see a show about Wanda and Vision? And then I was like, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, I want to watch that. But then the shows came out, and it was the complete opposite reaction. WandaVision ended up being like the
good one.
And then they won, Captain America won the Falcon, and the Winter whatever was horrible.
Then looking into Phase 6, Fantastic Four is coming out in May 2025.
That's far.
That's far in the future, but that's probably
What about X-Men? What the fuck? Where's X-Men?
No, there's no X-Men.
That's crazy.
They haven't announced an X-Men.
Did you know that?
That is really crazy.
Did you know that Miss Marvel is technically the first mutant?
Well, technically, first mutant in what sense?
Well, I didn't watch Miss. Yeah, because I didn't watch.
There's an argument to be made that Wanda is the first mutant.
There is an argument to be made about Wanda, but I saw a clip that at least the first time the word mutant has been used in the MCU is in Miss Marvel, when I didn't watch it, but the ending, one of the characters calls Miss Marvel you're a mutant.
Well, it's all semantics because they literally weren't allowed to use the word, but Wanda and her brother were.
I was gonna say, don't forget about Quicksilver.
They were mutants. There was some kind of loophole where Marvel was able to use those characters. Like, they are X-Men. Like, obviously Quicksilver and Wanda I know less about, but
Quicksilver isn't the real X-Men movies.
Quicksilver is like a real he's like part of the X-Men.
Yeah, he's OP. That's why they always kill him or break his fucking legs.
And those were some good ass scenes with him in the newer movies.
Yeah, never
got old for me.
No, I mean they're the best scenes.
Yeah,
that's why WandaVision was really disappointing because it's not him.
Exactly. Well, that was a weird cameo.
Yeah, boner. That was the joke.
Yeah. No, that was I don't know. That was like some sick joke. Like why even?
Dude, I remember seeing the episode. I was working from home at a different job, and I stopped working to watch that episode. I remember it ended with Evan Peters showing up, and I was like, I lost my mind. I think
it was a big moment.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, that's what the MCU needs, moments like that. And WandaVision gave us some. I think Loki season 1 gave us some. I would say the season finale of season 2 was pretty dope. Not too, fucking, but that badass. Like, what happened? Like, it's something happening, something cool, and fucking, I want to see more.
It felt satisfying.
Yeah.
And it felt like things were moving in the right direction, which I'm happy to say continued the trend from season 1.
What do you think of the character of Sylvie? We haven't really talked about it.
She's pretty annoying.
You think she's annoying?
She was annoying in this season. Well,
I do think she was more annoying in this one than the first one.
Yeah.
In the first one, her annoyance made sense.
I don't know, but I was also rooting for them to smash in the first one.
But they're the same person.
It's okay.
Would you smash yourself?
Like a female version of myself?
Or a male version.
Yeah. I guess...
or any version, right? Because, it could be anything.
I mean, not if I was like a turtle.
But if you were another human being?
I mean...
Male or female?
I feel like we would get along pretty well.
But would you smash?
If the chemistry was there...
You'd smash yourself.
And I feel like it was there with Loki and Sylvie.
In the first season.
In the first season, not in the second season.
Yeah. In the second season, she was more annoying. She just wanted to live in her McDonald's.
Also, it's like, really? That's your most ideal place?
Well, yeah.
In Ohio or the
I will say the McDonald's thing was really forced.
Also, did they have to pay McDonald's?
They did. Didn't you get? Well, you don't eat at McDonald's because you're not scum. But they released a deal at McDonald's called
some Loki thing.
No,
the Sylvie meal.
No, it was called you could get, and it wasn't anything special. It was just named differently, but you could get the Big Mac meal or the nuggets, and it would come with a special bag, and it would come with sweet and sour sauce with a special fucking tape on it or whatever that said "as seen in Loki season 2." So you would go to McDonald's and you would say, "Can I get the #1 Big Mac, as seen in Loki season 2?" And they would give you literally, it's a normal fucking burger with fries. The only difference is that the marketing on the items that you get has the words "as seen in Loki season 2." And because sweet and sour is green, Loki is green.
Okay.
Wow. So, yeah. So that's why McDonald's is in the show, because of that. But it was lame. The integration into the show wasn't even worthwhile. They don't even have an action scene in the show. If they have an action scene in the McDonald's, they break it down and they blow it up.
It felt a little forced.
Yeah, it was really forced. And the fact that that's what Sylvie wanted to do, fucking why?
Yeah, that's her greatest ambition. Like she could do
Not even the McDonald's in Times Square. No, a McDonald's in fucking
buttfuck, yeah.
Bumblefuck, Ohio of all states. Like,
well, trust me, you do not want to work at the McDonald's at Times Square. That's a shit show.
I know. I've been there. I've eaten there. It's pretty good.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've been there.
You've never been there.
I've been to the Popeyes in Times Square.
I don't think that one's famous.
The McDonald's famous?
It is, because it's got 2 stories.
I've been to McDonald's with 2 stories.
But it looks like a nightclub.
Okay, I'll have to check it out then.
Wow. So you've never been there?
No.
You gotta go.
I don't go to Times Square, man.
You don't go to McDonald's at all?
I don't go to either one. Yeah, that's like a bad combination for me.
Well, you should check it out.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, lately I've been going to Times Square because I'm a tourist in my own city, a little bit.
That's
having
okay.
been bi-coastal.
That's okay.
No, that's okay. I like
the M&M store.
I've been to the M&M store.
You like it? Have you done the thing where you get like the different?
Yeah.
Are they good?
Yeah, I was fucking so hyped the whole time.
They're expensive as fuck. They have one here too. So
yeah,
New York's not special.
In Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, and they have one in Vegas too. The
Well,
same exact store.
But the McDonald's is special.
Yeah. The point is, the fucking McDonald's integration in Loki was garbage. But yeah, that was forced. I don't know. What else can we talk about? We're at 46 minutes.
I think that's pretty good. Any concluding thoughts?
Concluding thoughts. Loki season 1, 10 out of 10. Season 2, 9 out of 10.
That's too high for me.
I liked it. What would you give season 2 then?
7.5.
I don't like points. Make up your mind. 7.
No, you said 8.5 before.
And you know what? I said 9. Fuck it.
Okay, then 7.
Yeah, there you go. Respectable.
Fine.
And it's like, if you're in the between, it's like being an agnostic.
No, but
make up your mind.
Really, because I think it was. Okay, fine. I'll say 7.
Yeah,
whatever. Fuck it.
You gotta be,
No, because there's a big difference between a 6 and a 6.5.
What's the difference?
It's slightly better.
Then that's a 7.
No, there's things that are in between a 6 and a 7. Or 7 and 8.
That just sounds to me like you're scared of deciding which one to land on.
Okay, so, and I respect that, and so I'll say 7.
7 is respectable. You know what? If you had said the Loki season 2 is like 5, I'd be
no,
I
don't think
that's fucked up.
I don't think it's a 5, but I think 7 is. I think even 7 is being like a little generous. Only because the last episode was really good.
You know what? Fine. To be fair, I'll give it an 8. I'll take it back down to an 8. It's tied with WandaVision. How about that? For me, Loki season 2, 8 out of 10 for me. And I don't know if I have any more thoughts. Honestly, I don't know what else there is to talk about.
Yeah, I think
we covered everything.
I think we covered everything, and I'm. I want to say I'm excited to see what comes next, but there's not too much interesting things really for me until I get X-Men or Fantastic Four, or I guess Deadpool is the next thing for me. So,
that has X-Men.
Yeah, so we will wait for another 8 months.
All right,
And that'll be our next podcast.
Deadpool
In 8 months.
It'll be the 20th podcast.
The 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're gonna pump out. We have all of January, man.
All of January and possibly.
And 5 days in December.
The possibility of February through July if you've made the right choice.
If I make the right choice, well, okay. If we post these, okay.